It's also primarily JVM language, so it can be run in ordinarily JVM from Oracle or open source, OpenJDK. And also with this comes maybe this feeling that it's yet another of these dozens JVM languages. Yeah, that's probably true. But yeah, and it can even die like lots of them, or become basically this dead end in the evolution of programming languages. But there are 2 points why I think that it's not that case. One is that it is not only JVM language, but it has also translation to JavaScript. That means that it, from the Kotlin code, it produces JavaScript code. It has that tool in that tool set for Kotlin. And since last year, there was this ongoing progress on Kotlin native, that is compiler to the LLVM, and from LLVM you can go to the native code, and you can compile Kotlin then basically for all of these platforms, operating systems. And as a mobile developer, I'm really interested, especially in that iOS part, because I know only Android now, and that's it. For Android, of course, it uses that JVM compilation, and but in last year it gained so much popularity amongst Android developers that Google decided to make it like first-class language for Android development. So it is really supported now. How basically looks Kotlin? It was designed simply to fix some of the pain points from Java, and especially it's very Java is very verbose language, and developers are quite lazy, I think, and I am lazy, and I am developer, and then I think its syntax features and that makes code with much more brevity are really nice here. But still, the code maintains good readability, and you can quickly switch from Java to Kotlin because there is no like alien syntax like some of the other JVM languages have. If you are a Java developer, it's especially good for you. Kotlin is open source. It's developed in a similar way like probably some of Red Hat products. It is produced by JetBrains, developed by JetBrains, but it also accepts pull requests from community, from other contributors. So we can all add to that. It is also well fit into Java ecosystem, and now in Java world it's quite popular to use Gradle for building the projects. So it has good Gradle tooling, and also because it was originally developed by JetBrains, that is like kind of company. It comes from Russia, but don't be afraid. They are nice guys, I think. It is basically very well supported in the IDEs. I think I really like Android Studio and also IntelliJ IDEA that is also from JetBrains. Android Studio is developed by community and supported by Google, so it's yeah, basically Both of them are open source projects in a way. IntelliJ IDEA has some commercial version. So, because not many of you know Kotlin, I will take a liberty to show you some basic syntax. If you want to try the syntax, you can use that try-kotlin-lang.org. There is this, you can run it from your browser directly, and there are lots of examples and lots of learning stuff to how to learn the syntax. So simple. And there is Kotlin code. You can see that it's already a little bit similar to Java, like the imports here. This function is declared by this fun. It's a lot of fun. So it's the function can be outside of class. It doesn't need to be method. It's then translated to method because it's compiled in JVM, but it can be outside. You have here the variable declaration. It's for these vals and vars. The main difference is that vals cannot be array assigned. Kotlin has also this reversed notation for writing, for declaring types in variables. It is kind of Pascal-like. I think that maybe Scala or Swift use the same syntax to have it differently, or Pascal for older people here. Sorry, and I started with Pascal, so I am old too. And because it's not a dynamic language, you can have in Java you have this long type definitions. For variables, you need to write the type directly there. But in Kotlin, there is this kind of type inference. So when the type is completely obvious from the compile perspective, from that value, it can be omitted and you don't need to write it there. There is also this nice string templating that I really miss. I don't know if it's in Java now. I don't really follow it that closely because I try to write in Kotlin. But the Kotlin is still like my personal interest in Red Hat, but we are like highly encouraged to explore new technologies, and it is not officially supported in Red Hat in any way, like from the product perspective. It's only my personal interest. There's also this nice thing for that. This is very long function. It's nothing that would be declared on the string. It is thing that is called extension function. Simply you can declare in any existing class some additional function or method, but it is not like that you would modify that original class, but it would create basically some simple utility class where this method is put. So if you have some, for example, utility string functions for some kind of validation or modification, you can add them as these extension functions, and you can access it from that with the dot operator. Okay, another difference maybe from Java is that you can assign the value of control structure. The value can be returned directly to some kind of variable. This can be done even in that string templating, and there is some advanced switch-like control structure that is called when, and you can also assign it to that variable. And as for the classes and the interfaces declarations, it goes like this. There are no way to write the word extends or implements. Very simple colon and interface or class. In interfaces, you can have implementation of methods, but you can't obviously have any variables, properties that have assigned some data to them, but that you can of course do in class. In classes, you have this nice properties. So unlike of Java, where we have attributes and we need to write these getters and setters, you have here properties and write getters and setters like in the syntax that is very similar to variable declaration. What is interesting is that functions or methods are public by default and they are final by default. So if you want to override it or you need to open it, you need to even open the class to have it extended from it, and as well, if you want to private the function, you need to write it there. Okay, there is maybe one difference. You don't need to use some new operator. It's like a function called construction of object. Okay, I think that's quite obvious. One more interesting thing is null safety. By default, if you write it like this, it has type string, and this type can't be set to null. It's checked for null at compilation type. You can't assign to it null. And if you want to have nullable type, you need to write this question mark at the end of the type, and you can then assign null. But if you have the calls with the dot operator, it can be done directly only on a non-nullable type. If you have it on nullable, it will throw compilation error. You can override this by using this double exclamation mark operator. That is something like, it's very dangerous, but it basically calls it same like in Java. You would need to add additional check for the nullability. This is not really that used. But what is used is this one, this question mark dot operator, that simply when this is null, it makes this not evaluate and makes the expression null. So if you chain it here, you basically have it all null. ToString is a special case that can be even on a null call, and this is useful because if you want to print something null, this is done by using some special extension function on any question mark type, and you can call it on null, and it will return the string null. And Elvis operator is last thing. If simply this is null, it will return the remainder of this expression. And last thing from syntax is the syntax for the lambdas. That is something we really don't have for a long time in Android because it supported only Java 1.6, and only from last year it's supported for Java by no mean of hacks like character lambda or something like that. But first in Kotlin it was always there, I think, and the syntax is this. You write curly brackets, then the list of parameters, then this arrow, and then body of your lambda. If you don't have more than one parameter, you can use this it, and you can basically use just it. For collections, we have lots of collections implemented in Kotlin standard library that is packed with Kotlin, and it is even multi-platform. And on these collections, we have lots of useful functions like filter, fold, that we can use for operations with arrays, and it's really also this brevity versus readability. It's still very readable and it's quite short. So now I will leave that syntax and go straightly to that multi-platform stuff. Last year it was also very good year for that multi-platform development. For a long time, I think for 2 years it was supported to have the translation to JavaScript, but not supported to write it directly in multi-platform, like a multi-platform project. At the end of the last year, it started to support multi-platform projects using Gradle build system, and it is now like new thing. It's still experimental. So why do we want to have multi-platform? It is simple. We want to have some shared code. I am only 1 year in Red Hat. I worked in application in a company that developed mobile banking applications, and we had I was in mobile team developing Android application. We had separate team for iOS application and also separate team for backend and separate team for web banking. And in there we had lots of these validations happening and business logic that was basically simply written same code on all of these platforms, and it was repeated all of these amongst all of these platforms, also with a lot of bugs and so on. So the main reason is basically reduce amount of code by sharing some common code between platforms. Also from like HR perspective, it would be nice to have they hire the developer that is really expert in one programming language. But yeah, it's not that difficult to learn another one, but yeah. And also from the testing perspective, it's much easier to test it, have a common set of tests shared between the platforms. So, and how is this done with Gradle? I will show you soon. Gradle is the build system for Java, usually Java-based projects, but it doesn't need to be that because in Gradle you can have all sorts of these plugins that support multiple languages. It's written usually in Groovy, but there is also you can use Kotlin for that from recent time. And usually you have these build Gradle files in some sorts of modules that are like parts of your application, and then you have some project that covers it all and has its own build Gradle file. And for multi-platform development for Kotlin, there are three platform plugins. One is for the shared code, one is for the JavaScript code, and one is for the JVM. I forgot to mention that the native, that LLVM stuff is not yet supported in this, so as of now it's not yet supported. You can write some shared platform independent code here and have some platform dependent code in those modules, and from that it will create like some kind of library that you can use in your application. For JVM applications there is plugin called Kotlin. For Android application is plugin Kotlin Android, and for JavaScript is Kotlin 2.js. So let's see how is this done, because there is really good tooling support for that in IntelliJ IDEA, both for Community Edition and Ultimate Edition. So I'll create this new project, and it is located here in Kotlin, and it's Kotlin multi-platform experimental. Yeah, it's still experimental, but it is somehow working with some little tweaks. I call it, because we will have like simple hello world only, I call it hello Kotlin and create it. And yeah, here. It is going to create the project structure for us. You have here, you have here these two modules, Hello Kotlin JS, Hello Kotlin JVM, that are with those Kotlin platform JS and Kotlin platform JVM plugins. And in the root, you have this build Gradle that is that Kotlin platform common shared code. And you put platform independent code in this SRC main, and you put platform dependent code in these directories in the platform modules. So let's start with creating some simple Kotlin class. New Kotlin class. New Kotlin class. I call it hello. It would be class, and I would have simple function print text with one parameter with type string, and have it at first I will write it only to the screen, to the console. And yeah, this one, this is what is called this println function is what is in that so-called Kotlin standard library. And you can see this is the common standard library. Basically, this is platform independent implementation of println. It is done by the same mechanism of multi-platform projects in that Kotlin, for that Kotlin framework, and they implemented it just like in JavaScript it would do that console log, and in Java it would do that system out println. And so I will have also one property here called platform, by default empty string, and I will write that platform colon and that string. And so now this class is completely platform independent code, so you can use it from JavaScript and Java both, JVM both. If I want to compile this to Java application, I would need also the application module. I would create that by using new module, and now it is quite weirdly located because I shouldn't use these two, but this one, because these two are like only from IDE without Gradle support. But I need the Gradle support, and it's located here. And it is now this one, Kotlin Java, and I would call that up JVM, and yeah, then I would do the same for JavaScript. This one, yeah, and call it up.js. Okay, and you can see here that the build Gradle for that up.js has this Kotlin 2.js plugin, and for JVM has this Kotlin plugin. And for JVM, I would like to add the code to have some simple start function or main function. I would call that a main KT and have it like function main with arguments of array string. This is really not that important because I won't use this yet. And I would like to declare that variable hello and instantiate that function main, class hello. And now I am really I don't know why it did found that hello KT because I put it into wrong module. It should be in that app.jvm module. Sorry. Okay, I moved that. Yeah, it should be in that app.jvm because we are writing now that app.jvm. Yeah, and now it crashed a little bit. I hope it won't crash the whole IDE. And I will create here dependency between that module with that module hello Kotlin JVM, and now I can use it to I need to sync that Gradle project, and now it would show me auto completion for this, and I'll show hello defcon. And yeah, and for JavaScript, and also I put that here, that platform JVM, and for the JavaScript I would do that the same, but with that only the JavaScript. Yeah. And also I need to add the dependency to that project, to the JS project, and basically with this it will link to that it's kind of library project, and this library project links to that common module, or library module. Sorry, I was talking about modules, but there for some reason they write here projects, but it's meant modules. And now I also need to tweak that build Gradle little more, and I don't have it here, sorry. And I need to edit this stuff simply to tell it where it can start, from where it can start that jar file. I have here that main KT, and for main KT means that it calls the Java class and finds the main function here in main KT. That is the name that is from this name of this script. It creates it like from this name, and it will find that jar, that main function in the jar. And then I build it, app.jvm, and like this, and okay, it's done, and I'll execute it. Build libs, and here is this jar, and have it app.jvm jar, and hello defconf here. For the Node.js, the situation is a little bit complicated because I want to execute it in Node.js. I have here these lines of code that I need to add to that build Gradle, and from here you can see that I would put all the transpiled JavaScript files to the node modules directory. There are some parameters for the transpiler, like it should produce Node.js compatible modules, and this assembly.js simply collects all the JavaScript from all modules and put them into that node modules directory. I also need to copy this to the one module called hello Kotlin JS, because otherwise it won't produce that compatible Node.js module. And if it is there, I can build that app.js, and it should work, hopefully. And in here you can see in the app.js I probably forgot some lines. Yeah. I need also this one. Yeah. Yes, because it doesn't call it properly. Yeah, no. So, yeah. And it produced the JavaScript files, and you can see that it is looks like this. This is not much readable, but you have the Kotlin code for that. It can be even debuggable. You can set breakpoints in there and run the node in debug mode to debug it. And also modules from other Gradle modules are included here, and Kotlin.js is a Kotlin standard library. And what I need also is to have some simple JavaScript file like hello.js and have it on require that app.js. And now I can execute it with JS. Node and hello.js, and you can see it wrote that JS hello defcon, and it was JVM. Now I have it implemented just like platform independently by using Kotlin common library, but I can make it platform dependent. This is done by, I can do this by changing this class that is in common module. I would remove this platform and remove the implementation from it, and change this class to so-called expect class. And this expect class means that in common module it would expect that class hello be implemented in both other platform modules, in JavaScript and JVM. And also with the tooling in IntelliJ, I can even have it like created for me. So in JVM, I would implement it in such way. It would create for me this actual class in platform module and actual fun. And here I would implement it as follows this way, ln. This is from this Java library. I do this like writing like this. And the one thing that you can find in Kotlin that it has no semicolons at the end of the line. And as well for that hello, for the JavaScript, and in JavaScript I would do console log JS and $s. And now I also need to remove that line. It's setting that platform. I don't know why this is red. I have probably some error in IDE. Shouldn't be. So now I rebuilt that project, and or the module app.jvm and that module app.js, and now it is I do execution again, and you see that the little bit different here, and this executes the code from the platform module, that platform dependent code. And for JVM it would be the same, I think. I hope. Okay, app.jvm jar. Yeah, that's it. I will only change these to the brackets, square brackets, this one. So now it is with the actual implementation in these two modules. It is now written platform specifically for both of the platforms. Okay, that's it from the live code. And if you want to follow up on this example more, I have on GitHub I have this project called Hello Kotlin, and this does it more in detail because it supports also not only the two console applications, but also it has Android module for Android application and also browser application. And it does the same, it writes like Hello Kotlin, and then it calculates first 1,000 prime numbers, and this code for calculation is platform independent. But the rest, I have it implemented by using this. I'll show you. This in this diagram, and I have here it in the shared class that is platform independent, and it has these two interfaces, console and math, and I have it implemented like this. I have this console expect console class in the common module, and this actual implementation of console for JVM and JS. That's the same I have shown you now. But what is new is that I added these interfaces here. I don't know why, actually, I know they have explanation, but why they didn't use interfaces in the first place, and they developed some new syntax. But this expect actual paradigm doesn't support specializing it for Android. I can't have distinction between module for application for Android and module for application for JVM, and as well I can't have distinction between browser and Node.js. So with these two, I would have only distinction between JavaScript and Java JVM, but not have it specifically for Android or browser. So for this console, I have this implementation. It does the same as I shown you here for that JavaScript and JVM actual implementation. It writes it just to the standard output, to the console. But for Android and Java, I have implementation different, and I'll show you the implementation. It's here, here. For Android, it does it adds that text to the text view. Text view is UI stuff in Android. It's basically that text on screen, text label or something like that. And for that browser, I have it implemented like this. It adds it into the DOM node as text node. Yeah. So this is on the screen. So look on this GitHub. Also have there is in the beginning there is link to the two. One is blog post from JetBrains describing this feature, multi-platform project, and other is webinar that is basically like the presentation I'm having here, but it goes more into detail and explains more things. And last thing I would like to show you is the testing. And I have it also implemented only in in that sample GitHub project, and I have tests here. It is like in ordinary structure, like you would have also that similar in Java. Yeah, thanks. And it looks like this. You have something that is called Kotlin test library that currently implements only the stuff you can see here. It has these annotations before test, after test, test. That is, you know it probably, that this is the same as in JUnit. And in Java JVM, it is implemented by using JUnit. But for JavaScript, it's implemented by something called QUnit. And it's similar thing, but it's, so this allows me, if it would be working for me, I was not able to do it yet properly, so I'll accept any pull request to that repository. But I'll show you this on JVM, and this HelloLib JVM has also tests, and one test is this math test. That is, it's simply like this, so it is nothing special. This is platform dependent test. But for in shared class test, I have platform independent test, and I can have this test suite to run these two tests, and I can execute it from here, and have it simply run in that IDE, and it should show me results. Yeah, it's here. Yeah. And it would run the test both from those two. For JavaScript, I have it only for the browser, and it is not yet working as I expected. So I needed to copy that shared class test into that platform module, and it is not even platform module. This is that app module, and for developing web applications for frontend, there is something called Kotlin frontend plugin. It's another plugin developed by JetBrains to support having some kind of like backend and having support for packing these JavaScript files that will be sent to the browser into Webpack, and you can see that it also has support for Karma, that is kind of runner for tests in JavaScript, and I can run it from that Gradle here, and and it is Karma start. And it will show you and run the tests in browser using Phantom.js, and yeah. And you can view it too. Okay. So that's for testing. Check the GitHub for more details. So there is the link again. If you want to learn about Kotlin, you can use that official page, Kotlin line 4. If you want to ask me something, just send me mail. I have this Red Hat nick. It's obviously then redhat.com, at redhat.com. And on Slack, I am available in this Kotlin link, Slack Kotlin link. And also on Red Hat Slack, I'm also available, and also on IRC or something like that. And for Czech people, we are like for fans of Kotlin, we are trying to have some community. It is mainly located in Prague, and I am neither from Brno or Prague. I'm from Tábor, so it's also for me, it's very difficult to get there. There are some talks produced by Czech Kotlin user group. The web page is Kotliners CZ, but it is not, the page is not there really yet. They have also Twitter account and Facebook page. There should be at least the links for that. So I think that just questions. Yes, space for room for questions. So do you have any questions around this? Yes? Okay. I don't have anything like that yet. The Kotlin standard library is like now it is only in stage of she wants to see any example of connection to database. I don't have it because like in multi-platform code, of course, you can have connection in Java code, in JVM. That would use, I don't know, JDBC or something like that. But in Node.js, there is no such thing like directly for Kotlin, or I don't know it yet. But for converting some JavaScript libraries for Node.js, you can have also this, there is a thing called Typescript to JavaScript converter that takes TypeScript files. This is from some kind of chalk library. It's color syntax, color output to console. And this is TypeScript, and it when you call it, it converts it to Kotlin file, and then you can use that, as I shown you, that node modules import, and then use the types for that library. So it can be used with Node.js even for some database connection, but you need to use that Node.js library simply. There are maybe many projects. I have not. If you want to write something like that, you can use that multi-platform common plugin and write it both for JVM and both for JavaScript, and then you can even pack it to jar file, publish it on Maven, and have it in edit dependency in the Gradle file as a library for your project. That is what currently some libraries do. Yeah, is it? Anyone else? Yes.
I guess that these expect an extra class is something like interface and implicit implementation.
Yes.
And it's nothing special in relation to platforms.
Yes, I tried to explain that before. It is more explained in that webinar that is linked from my Hello Kotlin by the developer, one of the leading developers of Kotlin. I really don't know if I like his explanation because he basically thinks that it would make it much more complex to have lots of these interfaces, and they did this paradigm of expect actual. Yeah, and so that's in that example I use also the interfaces to have the distinction between Android and JVM browser and Node.js. Yeah. No, I can't, because it is not available from Kotlin and Kotlin 2.js application modules, this one. Maybe it will be in future. It's still highly experimental, so sorry. Yeah.
Okay, we are out of time, so thank you, Vojtech.
Okay, thank you very much.
if you have more questions, you can discuss it in the hall.
Yeah. Just if you want to take some Kotlin stickers, they're located there. Sorry? Yeah.